The most profitable companies in the world have learned to use their supply chains to keep goods and services flowing into the marketplace. But supply chain processes are only as good as the people who keep them running. Supply chain employment opportunities are constantly being created, and ISCEA certified professionals are getting the best paid jobs. If you wish to become a sound supply chain professional and gain real-world experience and knowledge, then ISCEA is your one-stop source for supply chain education, certification, and recognition. ISCEA is the International Supply Chain Education Alliance. We were the first organization certifying supply chain professionals around the globe, and we remain the worldwide authoritative resource for supply chain career validation, with thousands of certificate holders commanding top-tier salaries. Our certification programs are aligned with best practices and industry-proven standards. They bring together academic research advances and innovative industry trends, validating that you have the knowledge used by top companies to remain competitive in an ever-changing business environment. For your company, that translates into significant cost reductions, faster revenue growth, and a collaborative teamwork environment. For your career, it means exceeding everyone's expectations and taking control of your future. So, what are you waiting for? Stand out from the crowd and take your career to the next level with an ISCEA internationally recognized supply chain certification.
And the screenshot looks it. Sunulak ka sa mo?
Ano dyan sa mga bro?
Hello, everybody. Hi, this is Shubho here. I'm from Success Zante. I'm the CEO of Success Zante, and I welcome all of you for this to this unique evening. We will spend sharp 45 minutes, and then we will get to know from the specialist about a very specialized skill building area. And so, a little bit about Success Zante. We are a world-class training provider, and we represent quite a number of world-class speakers like Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, Robert Kiyosaki. And certification in supply chain is one of our certification programs, skill building certification program. And we wanted to make an impact and empower the supply chain specialists in Sri Lanka. That's why we have organized and we are working with ISCEA, the highest authority when it comes to certification in supply chain. So today, I am not going to speak. We have our specialist, a very unique gentleman who is not a stranger to Sri Lanka. He will be speaking to you, and then after that, if there is we are mainly focusing on the Q&A. I know all of us are business leaders here. I'd like to acknowledge all of you for being here this evening, and I know time is of the essence. So he will be sharing few of the areas how this certification program can help an individual, empower an individual as a supply chain manager, and how the supply chain manager can create value. So without further ado, I will just give a quick introduction and invite him to come and share his experience with us. And we will be, after that, we'll be having a Q&A session. And this gentleman, so he has been providing his services to Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and several other countries in Asia as the consultant and trainer. Now, he has trained more than 20,000 individuals in the region, and he has totally changed the landscape of supply chain industry when it comes. He's in the region considered to be the best. And so at the moment, currently he's the MD and the lead consultant of Mind Mapper Bangladesh, regional CEO of ISCEA Asia, Vice President Bangladesh Supply Chain Management Supply Society, and founding member and trainee of Bangladesh Organization for Learning and Development, President, Business Administration Society, University of Chittagong. And so he's the senior management consultant of Sensei International, and he has worked as a chief operating officer as Sanmar Group and supply chain director. He was supply chain director for Coats Bangladesh and supply chain director of Coats Sri Lanka. So he was in Sri Lanka for 4 years. As I said, he's not a stranger to Sri Lanka, and he considers Sri Lanka to be his second home. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Ejaz Rahman, your specialist this evening. Ejaz, over to you.
Thank you, Shubha. I think I need permission to switch on the camera.
Oh.
It says I can't.
Okay.
It says you cannot. Okay, now it says I can probably.
Okay. Now try. Okay.
Now it says you cannot start your camera because the host has disabled it.
Okay.
Can you try now, Ejaz?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, it's on. Thank you.
Yes, Ejaz, good to see you. Welcome back
Same
to
here,
Sri Lanka, this time virtually. Really good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How are you, everyone? Good evening, and Shubha, thanks very much for the lovely introduction. Not very sure if I'm worth of all the good stuff that you said, but of course, as you know, that you and I are aligned at least in one thing, that we want to impact more lives with one life, right? And ladies and gentlemen, I have seen your profiles. It's quite a rich profile of people who are joining. And as Shubha very kindly has mentioned, that I consider Sri Lanka as my second home. And those 4 years, the type of association I grew in Sri Lanka, like yesterday I was reading a post by Chamila Bandaranayaka, who is currently heading probably FedEx in Sri Lanka. She was a colleague at Coats Sri Lanka. And she mentioned about Ruan taking over as a vice chairman in one of the Haley's group concerns. So these are the type of bodies that we maintain. And I am personally known to Mr. Panditage, Mohan Panditage, the great chairman of Haley's group. So I'm much grateful that each one of you have made this time. We'll try to stick to the time. We respect your time as well. And this session, let me share the screen as well, which will probably help us to talk with perspective. Yeah. So Shubho gave all the intro, so I will not bore you further with any of the introductions. You can call me Ejaz during the Q&A session, and afterwards, Sri Lanka, to me, has got a much more strategic importance, even compared to Bangladesh, to actually become a supply chain hub for this part of the world. So with that, I always thought of promoting supply chain in Sri Lanka. We actually had one CSCM batch many years back in 2012, if I'm not wrong. And afterwards, of course, when we started online, when we moved the whole thing online, instructor-led online program, we had a good number of participants from Sri Lanka in the first online batch, which took place 2 months back. So what we are looking at is quickly give you a preview on what this program is about, and also help you answer any of the questions you may have in your mind. And then we should have a batch in Sri Lanka so that this island, starts having world-class supply chain leaders. You are already leaders in your profession. You have been delivering results and performing at a global level. And I'm going to tell you, I had a quick chat with Safi, who's the Vice President of Nestle in Sri Lanka, and I'm happy that he has already enrolled for the program. But I was telling Safi that, we all have learned by practicing. We didn't have an opportunity in our time. I served the corporate for about 16 years. And for the last 10 years, I have been in consulting and training. But when we practice supply chain, we didn't have an opportunity like what CSCM provides today to learn supply chain methodically, and start contributing. So to begin with, this is the type of resource that we have. And when you have it for Sri Lanka, we'll not have any less, probably better. We have CEOs, COOs, regional CEOs, and which is, of course, myself. We have supply chain heads for companies like Reckitt, Marico, Avery Dennison. You must be knowing all these organizations. Head of divisions from Unilever's, BAT, and so on. So Coats, of course, Parfetti, if you have that in Sri Lanka, I'm not sure. So the type of people who actually conduct sessions in these programs, none of them are university teachers. They're all practitioners. As you can see, a few more lists here. Head of supply chain, head of procurement. Head of supply chain is one of the key roles that you will get to see in your program, inshallah, when you join. The program, as you have known, is called CSCM, Certified Supply Chain Manager. So I'll quickly take you to ISCEA's website. You must have seen the video that was run as an introductory video for this session. ISCEA, International Supply Chain Education Alliance, it has its headquarters in US. They're the world's most popular supply chain certification provider. I hope the screen is visible. I've just taken you to their website. And I'll straightaway jump into CSCM, just to give you an exposure about what this program carries, what is the type of curriculum, and so on. Yeah, this is the CSCM curriculum. I'll try to read it out for you so that you don't have a struggle. So the first three modules are about, overview on supply chain, understanding the supply chain, achieving strategic fit in supply chain, and then supply chain drivers and obstacles. The next 4 to 6 covers managing our facilities, inventory, transportation, designing supply chain network, sourcing, information, and pricing. Then the next 11 to 15th module covers forecasting, aggregate planning, MRP, demand-driven MRP, planning supply and demand in the supply chain, and managing predictable variability, managing economies of scale and cycle inventory. And the last, between 16th to 22nd, covers managing uncertainty in the supply chain, which is about safety inventory, determining optimal level of product availability, coordination in the supply chain, theory of constraint and throughput accounting, leadership, Lean Six Sigma, and sustainability. So these are the type of curriculum that we have for CSCM program. So if we go back to...
Ejaz cannot see the slide, it's blank.
Yeah, the slide will come back now. I've just gone through the curriculum from the ISCEA website. You have seen that one, right? Or it was too small? Was that too small when I described?
No, we didn't see the website screen, Ejaz.
You did hear what I shared, right? The sound was there.
Sound was there. We can see the slide, but we didn't see the website.
Okay, I got into the website directly. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Stop sharing. I'll put the website one more time. Is that visible now? Is the website visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's the here. you go to certifications and go to CSCM, you get to see the details that this is the more 22. So I don't think I will repeat this again. If, of course, anyone wants to go through this further, it's www.iscea.org. You can go there for further details. So what it basically covers is 80% of the curriculum is supply chain body of knowledge, and the rest 20% covers leadership, theory of constraint, Lean Six Sigma, and sustainability.
Number.
So I will close this website now and go back to the original presentation slide. Yeah. So those of you who have been practicing supply chain for quite a long time, I've seen a lot of senior professionals from different industries joining here, including CEOs. The supply chain that we focus on today, it includes planning and management of everything, that directly or indirectly contributes to customer order fulfillment, the entire bit of, supply chain. And the beauty that this type of program helps you to cover is that you find the right connections of different parts of the supply chain. Those of you who have had very minimum, even theoretical background on supply chain, you will appreciate that it covers from planning to sourcing to making and to delivery. I hope this is something that we all know. Something that we all know we have been focusing on: plan, source, make, deliver. Yes, I believe you can raise your hand and say yes. So what this program does, it creates this beautiful methodical structure in your mind that next time when you try to make any decision in supply chain, you understand that what are the other relevant things that I should be considering, and therefore your decision becomes a comprehensive decision. You would recognize the fact that the reason this is called supply chain management, because it's not a matter of focusing on a compartment of the chain, rather focusing on the whole chain, so that the decisions we make, it should take into account the overall impact that our decisions make in the holistic supply chain today. So, and the supply chain knowledge that you develop through this program, it helps you to look beyond your organization and consider other supply chain partners who are also party to your supply chain. For example, your suppliers in one hand and your customer and their customers on the other. So how do you make decisions, better decisions, which are actually useful for your organization, and at the same time, it looks after the interests of your partner organizations? The reason this supply chain had evolved 40, 50 years back is because when we had supermen, superwomen recruited in different departments, individually they were doing great. But when you put them in the organization, you still see conflicting interests in different departments because people did not realize how their small decision or medium decision or large decision are impacting other parts of the organization. So supply chain management necessarily, therefore, is planning and managing everything that contributes towards customer order fulfillment. So this program is really there to help you connect all those dots and make decisions that make significant impact on the overall supply chain. As I was mentioning, it covers planning, sourcing, making, delivery, and of course, managing return. This is the basic structure that a supply chain has. And fundamentally, this course that you go through, it will take you through things like supply chain drivers, which you may not have heard before, but maybe you're practicing with each of those. I'll show you a particular slide to cover that. Necessarily, what this program develops is your understanding about the interconnectedness of all these functions, and also your relationship with other supply chain partners, as I mentioned, like the suppliers and their suppliers and your customers and their customers. So how you make decisions that not only helps your organization to achieve its own KPIs and performance parameters, but also helps your partner organizations to support you in achieving what you wish to do, while in the process they also benefit. And today, as we teach or talk about supply chain, there's one single objective that every supply chain wishes to fulfill, which is maximizing overall value. And this value is basically the difference between what the customer is willing to pay us and the total cost that the supply chain incurs. So how all the partners together can maximize this value is the objective of this type of comprehensive supply chain learning. And as I said, there's a single objective today in supply chain. How do we maximize overall value generated? While we try to maximize our value, we don't take our attention away from our supply chain partners. And that's how the supply chain partners help us strengthen our process so that we together can become world-class, we together can beat competition, we together can achieve strategic fit. Now, the processes that we have in a supply chain firm are generally into 3 areas: customer relationship management, internal supply chain management, and supplier relationship management. All these are actually covered in this program. And if I may take you to another slide, this talks about how we focus on supply chain as a driver of shareholder value. So we learn how it impacts on sales revenue, how it helps us in reducing cost, managing working capital, and also, of course, managing physical capital so that we increase net income, we maximize use of the assets in the business, and therefore create economic value and help shareholders to achieve better. Now, this is one diagram. We'll probably describe a lot of things for you to focus on. Please pay attention to this one. That every business starts with something called competitive strategy. And this is a must for any business. You may know it for your organization, you may not know it, but as you go back after this session today, you should actually start looking for it. Competitive strategy is necessarily the strategy that a business designs to compete in the market with its products and services. So how do we compete as an organization against the competition in the market with our products and services? For example, our competition is very strong in lead time, right? They deliver products and services in short lead time. How do we achieve a better lead time, right? And also, it could be in terms of price, that competition is playing with price. So how can we reduce or cut cost in the supply chain and compete with a more competitive price in the market? So once that competitive strategy is done, only then you can have a product development strategy, sales marketing strategy, and finally, the fulfillment side, which is supply chain strategy. So I just want to set another perspective in your mind. The way I describe supply chain is pretty simple. That every business organization on earth has 2 main jobs to do. One, generating business or generating demand, right? So they generate demand by campaigning, by creating hype in the market, connecting to potential customers, advertising, and so on. Sales and marketing primarily does their job. But once that demand is brought in, everything else that the business does in fulfilling the demand, that process is called supply chain management, which can be performed by one department, which can be performed by multiple departments, generally multiple departments. So the type of concept, the understanding that you and I developed through this CSCM journey is that we consider that everyone together creates a supply chain culture. It's not just a supply chain department. If you have a department, that's fine. But anyone and everyone, any department that contributes into fulfilling customer demand, they're actually contributing to the supply chain in the business. So that's pretty much what supply chain management is all about. That how do we fulfill demand once it is brought in? So in this structure, as you can see, in line with the competitive strategy, we designed the supply chain strategy. And based on that supply chain strategy, we create the supply chain structure, which will deliver the expected results. So here are the 6 things that you would not normally focus in this fashion. You have been dealing with all this. We call these are 6 drivers, and 3 of them we call logistical drivers, which is facilities, inventory, and transportation. And at the bottom, you can see information, sourcing, and pricing. And if you carefully look at this graph, each of these drivers are interconnected. What that suggests is if I make a decision about facilities, it has a knock-on effect on inventory, knock-on effect on transportation, information, sourcing, and pricing. And likewise, any other driver that you focus on, let's say you're working in transportation, right? You've got to make sure that you don't overlook the idea that your transportation decision will have an impact on the inventory management of the business, on the facilities management. Facility, of course, stands for manufacturing site or a storage site in supply chain. Your transportation decision will also have a knock-on effect on information management, sourcing, or even pricing. So likewise, as you go through each of these 6 drivers, will have unique chapters actually in the whole module, the 22 modules that we teach in CSCM program. And you also understand the interconnectedness. So after the program, when you start making decision, you use all your past wisdom or the wisdom that you carry today based on your experience and different other trainings and so on. CSCM for the first time will help you to make decisions comprehensively. That's when the business will see that you make decisions which are strategically right. These are not operationally right, they're also strategically right. They can connect with the business's long-term strategic perspective. And that is why if you look at Bangladesh, for example, within the whole of Asia, a large number of multinationals and large local conglomerates, all the head of supply chain are certified supply chain manager. Because for the first time after going through this program, they develop a methodical mindset which they did not have before because they did not come from a theoretical supply chain background. No school in a university taught this. Only in the recent past, universities have started offering supply chain curriculum. Just so you know, ISCEA started offering this program back in 2003, and the highest number of CSCMs are actually funded by UN globally because it's such a robust program, such a well-recognized program. We had EPICS and other organizations in the past who offer operation management program, and recently they have started supply chain. But ISCEA is the first organization in the world to start offering certification on supply chain management. So this is just one small snapshot that I have projected here in the presentation with regard to how do we create a framework for structuring supply chain drivers. I believe to many of you, as a driver, you are hearing it for the first time. So what happens in the process, the type of knowledge that we generate, by managing these 6 drivers effectively, we balance between 2 critical things, which we call 2 dimensions of supply chain excellence. One is efficiency, which is lowering the cost. The other one is responsiveness, which is delivering as and when our customer expects, being responsive in the market. So our job as supply chain managers necessarily, I'm sure you can relate with the type of activity that you do, is every decision we make, we ensure that it is efficient enough and it is responsive enough to compete in the market. So the whole program will go around the 6 drivers and extension on the 6 drivers. For example, if you're talking inventory, we'll learn inventory as one driver, and you'll also learn the different variants of inventory management, cycle inventory, safety inventory, and so on, and how actually you go about it. So we need to recognize why the world today is, someone is writing CSCM content. Is it that I have to share again, or Sashika, is it that you're sharing with someone, or you want me to present it again?
No, it's just for their information.
Okay, all right, thank you. So the world today recognizes the different value for supply chain management. During the pandemic is even more. But the world is getting more and more global. We can't, independently run a country. We have so much dependence on other countries. So that's one reason. Second one is it's multi-channel. Businesses are selling offline and also online, right? And many of you have seen in Sri Lanka that so many other online businesses has evolved. And the business is more becoming a 24/7 business, not just that we have. Qualified supply chain manager, supply chain is becoming even more critical. It's an interesting stat across the globe. Just to save your time, these are all industries like chemical, healthcare, food and beverage, industrial, high-tech, consumer packaged goods, logistics, and retail. The bar that you see is the tallest is the navy blue bar, which is right on the left-hand side. In each of the sectors, each of the industry, the leftmost bar is the tallest. And that's about finding talents. The reason is that supply chain is becoming even more challenging, and that's why it has evolved as the most critical operational priority for every business, how do we manage our supply chain today. And they're finding it very struggling, difficult. I know that a lot of Sri Lankans go abroad for jobs as well. Sometimes you migrate as well, right? So this is a critical global certification which will help you to fill into that gap, which is a great opportunity area. And of course, this information will help you to rethink that there's so much demand in the market, and every industry is saying the biggest challenge they have is finding talents. Okay, so we have been running, if we talk about Asia, we've been running this fantastic program since 2010. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, we have currently 50th batch, which is a Golden Jubilee batch, which is currently running. They will appear at the exam on the 6th. And we intend to create a similar environment in Sri Lanka and create a Sri Lankan batch. And we had many participants in one of our previous batches from Sri Lanka. So of course, when it is done for Sri Lanka, it's online, the whole content is delivered in English, lectures are delivered in English as well, right? So I have some great news if you are interested to know, because our intention is to, I just want to give you an overview of what CSCM does, just to refresh in your mind. 80% is supply chain body of knowledge, and the rest 20% is in those 4 areas that I mentioned: theory of constraint, Lean Six Sigma, leadership, and sustainability. And I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. So at this stage, before I take you through something very, very hot that we have brought as an offer for this session today, Shubho, if Sathi is around, who has recently enrolled after a brief discussion with me, I would like Sathi to come in and share his experience and expectation from this program. Sathi, if you're around. I will talk about the special offer at the end of the session. Shubho?
Yeah.
Shubho, is Sathi around? Is he?
Yes.
Hi, Jasur. You can hear me?
Yes, yes, Sathi is there.
Hi, Sathi. I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening. So nice to connect with you.
Same here, Sathi. Thank you very much. I'm excited to know that you have already enrolled for CSCM, or you have confirmed that you're in the CSCM program. Excellent.
Yeah.
Welcome. Sathi, if you could, for the benefit of all the other participants, why you thought this will be useful for you, because you're such a senior person, already you are at a great height in supply chain management, how you thought that this is going to be useful for you, just for others to know.
Yes, Jasur. So I have been in supply chain for last 20 years, and I have a sound experience in supply chain.
Yeah.
And but then I'm a chemical engineer from Morocco University, and all what I have learned in supply chain is through experience, and also some of the workshops I have followed in the last 20 years. So so I think end-to-end understanding of supply chain is very critical. So when Shua told me that there's a program like this, I was just wondering whether this will suit me. So I had a chat with you some time back, and so I understood that a lot of these supply chain concepts and the tools are covered in this program. So I feel that this will actually help me to enhance my overall knowledge. And yes, so that's the main reason I want to follow this program. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sathi. So, Shubho, if the audience is happy, we can open the Q&A session now, and at the end, I request everyone to stay on. There's something very special for you as you have joined today, to know that we have a very special opportunity to join CSCM program in the upcoming batch. So please stay on till the end. At this stage, I'm happy to take any question from the audience, if we can unmute
before
them.
that, thank you, Satendra, for your sharing.
Thanks a lot,
and of course joining the session as well. So I have a question from why not planning included in the structure that you have shown? Why planning is not included?
Which structure? The supply chain driver structure, is it? Yeah, probably is referring to that.
Priyanka, would you please clarify that?
Yeah, I think the structure means the framework that we have shown. That's what he is asking.
Yeah.
So the 6 drivers in supply chain performance, if I may repeat, is facilities, inventory, transportation, and information, sourcing, and pricing. You are absolutely right with your question that where is planning? Interestingly, of those 6 drivers, when you work on those 6 drivers, each of the drivers actually include planning. So plan for facilities, plan for inventory, plan for transportation, plan for information management, plan for sourcing, and plan for pricing. Planning is very much available and present in all those 6 drivers. Yeah, we cannot have, as I said right at the beginning, it's planning and management of all activities that directly or indirectly contribute in customer order fulfillment. That is supply chain management. So just to reconfirm, planning is actually present in everything that we do. All the 6 drivers includes planning. Thank you. It's a brilliant question.
Great. Now, Vasanta Dias, he's asking, how is the course material given? Hard copy or soft copy?
Sorry, what's the question? Hard copy, soft copy?
How is the course materials are given? Is it hard copy?
Well, you'll be receiving the program online, but the workshop manual that you'll be receiving will provide you with a hard copy, right? That you'll have with you. We'll provide you with a hard copy workshop manual. In fact, let me talk about the design of the program now that you said. Other than ISCEA, the design of the program is you straightway join a 4 days international workshop and then you sit for a 4 hours online exam. But what I have done in ISCEA since 2010, we have created a month-long free, fully free group study session with all these supply chain ISCEA resources that you have seen, who are mostly supply chain heads in large organizations. They will take you through 20 classes, which is 3 hours each. So altogether about 60 hours of class you will get for free without any fees. In the ISCEA original curriculum, there's no such mention for classes. So in those 60 hours, we cover all the chapters in detail, excepting 3 or 4, which we only share during the workshop, which includes Lean Six Sigma, theory of constraint, leadership, and sustainability. But the entire supply chain body of knowledge, we actually go into a lot of details because each chapter is discussed for 3 hours. So you can imagine, so that's going to happen. You will be attending 20 classes in the evening, and you have 4 days of international workshop. And for that workshop, you will get a manual, which is quite a big manual, which covers about 800 slides. So the reason I have introduced these group study sessions in the evening is actually to ensure that you not only hold a certificate, you hold very comprehensive knowledge about entire supply chain. So the way it will run, it will start on let's say on a Sunday, and for 4 weeks, each week you will have 4 to 5 classes. So what we are doing for online session, understanding that people are busy, this 4-week session we have expanded into 6 weeks, so that not every week you have 4 classes, you have 3 classes, 4 classes, and so on. And after 2 weeks, you'll have the first 2 days workshop, 2 full days workshop, and that will be also online. And that also we have reduced in size so that we don't finish it in 4 days, we actually finish it in 6 days now. So 4 days plus 2 evenings. It's like 12 sessions of 3 hours, so 36 hours instead of 32 hours. Yeah. So 2 weekends you will have workshop, Saturday, Sunday, and then 2 evenings. So altogether 4 days and 2 evenings you will have the international workshop. It's the same curriculum that everyone across the world covers. But on top of that, mind it, as you're doing it here in Asia, you'll be having 60 hours of free sessions with supply chain practitioners, where it's not only a one-way learning from the resource, you also learn from the co-participants who join from the industry. So, and as I said, if I have answered your question, let me repeat that for the workshop, which is an international curriculum, you'll receive quite a comprehensive workbook for the entire workshop. Someone is saying, if we miss any session, that's a very good question. I knew that will be coming this way. This is the beauty of online session. Please hear me out carefully. This is what we have done. If by any chance you miss portion of the session or one full session, we keep the content available for next 2 days online in a Google Classroom. So you can go there anytime at your convenience and repeat as many times as you want. Same thing will happen with the workshop sessions. So all the 20 classes, after the class is over, for the following 2 days, it will be available for you to access. And for the workshops also, when they're over, for the following 2 days, it will be available for you, which is not actually an opportunity that we can offer when we take the classes offline. Yeah, it's only for online you have that opportunity.
Great. Thank you. So there is a question from Anuruddha Jayasingham. So he's asking, does plan for info management include management of SCAM based on variables in demand pattern? What is the sanity check for DDMRP?
DDMRP, is it?
Yes. There are two for this.
DDMRP is a unique program that ISCEA is also offering. They have another certification for it called Certified Demand Driven Planner. So what happens in CSCM program is we share an overview of DDMRP, right? Give you the concepts of how DDMRP is done, how demand-driven, because that's the way the world is focusing now. The entire planning system will be based on actual demand, right? Demand-driven material requirement planning. And you, of course, the person who has asked, I understand, is a very knowledgeable person in supply chain. We evolved from MRP1 to MRP2, now we are in ERP, and now finally we are talking about integrated business planning. So demand-driven material requirement planning is something that was coined by an institute called Demand Driven Institute. And the lady who holds that is called Carol Petak. She's actually an ISCEA resource. In her name, we have a Supply Chain Excellence Award across the world. So yes, you'll have an exposure of that in DDMRP section when we do the program. That will be also covered.
Thank you.
Maybe
Thank you. So, Ejaz, I have a question. So, why do you think supply chain, I mean, the supply chain specialists, they should register for it? If you want to give one reason, especially in the unique situation at this point, how it would help? Because we've been asked this question, will it actually help if we do this program?
In fact, what we are seeing around the globe, Shubho, is the moment someone, it's the first introduction that you have with any employer across the world is through your CV or resume, whatever you present, right? And people are becoming smart as well. Those who become a CSCM, in the career objective itself, they mention, as a certified supply chain manager, this is what we wish to do. So that's one, that you stand out from the entire crowd, because like in a place like Bangladesh with 170 million people, right? Over 2.2 million getting into the job market every year. There is only 500 CSCMs. So those, when they present themselves as a qualified supply chain manager, and others are actually coming with no supply chain educational background, they immediately stand out. So the first thing is your employability enhancement. That's one thing. And even if you're already working, the moment you claim this to your business and you start making decisions, which lot more sense than ever before, because your decisions are more connected now, more comprehensive, takes the overall impact of this decision in supply chain in consideration. And that's how you make your mark in any organization. If you're running a business also, CSCM will give you a comprehensive idea about how the overall supply chain works. So the decisions you will make, it will help you to compete better, it will help you to earn revenue better, it will help you to manage your assets better in the organization, be it inventory, be it machines, be it factory or distribution center. So those of you who will be enrolling the program, one single reason you should consider is it is about pushing yourself to a much higher level, at a global level of supply chain knowledge. And if you carefully actually understand what goes on in the program, is 60 plus 36 hours, 96 hours of supply chain education in 6 weeks. And none of these will be taught by university or institute teachers. It will be taught by people who practice them and who are also CSCMs. So that way, and you cross-fertilize, you learn from each other. People will be mostly from multinationals and large local groups. We actually expect some of the Sri Lankan resources also to join going forward. And we want teachers or resources coming out. Those of you who wish to contribute in the bigger community in the future will be picking resources from you as well. So you should join there to personally develop yourself to another level and also assist your own organization or the business organization where you work to take supply chain performance to another level. And which is today, as Shubho was mentioning, during the pandemic, this has become even more critical. The whole supply chain assumptions, setups have been now challenged, that whether we necessarily only focus on efficiency or agility should become another focus. Yeah. So that way you become an all-rounded supply chain professional, yeah, to take up a supply chain career or promote yourself to another level of responsibility. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh yes, Vasanta has asked another question. Like other professions such as accounting, IT, medical, law, etc., won't supply chain will also be computerized, knowledge-based with AI? With AI.
Will it be computerized, right? That's the question. Yes. In
fact, and with AI, he's saying that whether...
Yeah, in fact, automation is something that cannot be avoided, right? Automation will continue to take over. Let me put it even simpler and logical in your mind. Anything in this world that is repetitive in nature and are rule-based will be automated. They are repetitive in nature. For example, those of you who are joining today, If you think in your mind that every day when you go to the office, how much of the job you do on a repetitive basis, every day, like 50–60% of your time, you do the same thing on a repetitive manner. And many of those, if not all, will be also rule-based. For example, you extract information from one place and put it in another, and then put it on a assessment platform, and you put it on a dashboard probably for your bosses or superiors to focus on. So two things only: repetitive in nature and rule-based. All such activities, because supply chain is actually from, it's the largest aspect of doing business. Right after the order enters into the system, till the time it goes to the customer and post-sale services, everything is included in supply chain. So that's why the focus is so much in the whole world. Like all other activities, as you mentioned, be it medical and all, accounting and so on, a large part of supply chain activities are being automated. But again, human will be still required for making the decisions and thinking. Right? The thinking job will be still done by people. Automation is happening in a large way already. If I can tell you a few, the ships are becoming autonomous ships, which means imagine a ship starting from the west, somewhere in the west, and arriving Asia without crews in the ship, right? It will be automated ship. What do you call, drones have been already used by many of the big retails for making deliveries. RFID has come, which tracks the identity of any product or services that you offer, right? And the entire the manufacturing process, a large of it is also getting automated. So automation will continue to be there, but that will also create more opportunities for human to perform, because any job that requires thinking beyond AI capability, human will be still required. So supply chain will continue to remain. Just to give you an interesting insight, MIT's research suggests that people growing from supply chain will have the highest possibility to reach to the top. If I talk Bangladesh, the first ever managing director of Unilever Bangladesh was previously supply chain director. The current managing director of Coats is a Vietnamese lady. She grew from supply chain background. The country head of Avery Dennison in Bangladesh grew from supply chain background. So people coming from supply chain, MIT says, will have the highest possibility to reach to the top simply for the fact or reason that they cover the widest part of the business, from plan, source, make, deliver. If everything is there, so what else is outside is finance and marketing. Yeah, the rest of the things are supply chain management. So you'll have a lot greater opportunity to grow.
Great, thank you, Ejaz, for those insights. Thank you very much, everybody, for asking questions. So we overshot the time by 10 minutes. So would you like
go
to
for the hot offer now for 2
yes,
minutes?
would you like to announce it? Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for asking the question. And so Ejaz?
Yeah, I'll share the screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you go, everyone. A big benefit for joining tonight. So the usual global fees for CSCM program is $2150, right? That has been the price for at least 3 years now. Even pre-pandemic time also this was offered everywhere. And what we have done in Asia, we have got a specialized price, a market-driven price. This is what even Bangladesh enjoyed, $1650 for 2020. And online, when we moved online, and considering the pandemic situation, as most of the things got revised, we got a very special pricing, which is US dollar 1300. So that's the price that everyone got during pandemic across. And of course, the good news does not end there. Are you ready for that, everyone? I'm sure you are. This is the price that you'll be paying if you're joining CSCM in the upcoming batch, which is starting in the first or second week of November. And we actually really look forward to create a batch in Sri Lanka itself. You can go around and talk to your friends. I can tell you one interesting thing. Back in 2008, I did CSCM with court's money, right? The fees that I paid was $1,195. So it was like $1,200 in 2008. So 12 years back. And these fees are less than that. Okay? $1,200 back in 2008. So you can pay less than that today after 12 years. So you must just grab it. We're seeing a great response in other parts of Asia. So those of you who wish to join for the upcoming batch, we really want to create a batch in Sri Lanka. It is like half of the global price in $1,150. If you come in a group of 5, you have one more final incentive to consider, which is $1,050 per person. If you are coming from the same organization or friend circle or any other social group that you maintain, if you're coming in a group and participate, the fees will be only $1,050. Right? So I encourage you to immediately consider this. Opportunities are short-lived, as we know. And of course, for you to take this offer between today and 30th of October, you got to deposit $100 worth of Sri Lankan rupees, perhaps, or even dollar with Success Ante. And I sincerely look forward for your joining. I don't think you should be missing this, right? This is not something that you should miss. Just grab it. All right, so I'm happy to consider any final comments or questions, Shubho, from the audience. Are people excited? Can they write something if they're happy with this? 2150 getting down to 1050 or 1150?
Yeah, we can get some feedback. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is your opportunity to ask from the CEO of ISCEA Asia himself. So we organize this program, the event, so that you're able to ask any doubts, any clarifications you require. You can go ahead and ask him, and then he'll be happy to answer. And so we just shared the registration link. If you're thinking of joining, please go ahead and click onto the link and then pay $100 deposit so that you can book your seat for this.
Everyone is keeping their camera switched off. We can't see anyone's expression. Are they excited? Okay, not excited? Can't see. Anyways, I believe we'll be embracing this great news. And as I said, opportunities are short-lived in life.
Right.
And it's a matter of taking opportunities and creating.
There will be a combination of lecturers for this, right? From Bangladesh and
we'll have some from Sri Lanka as well. Yes.
Right. Because I believe,
of course, in any case, all the sessions will be delivered in English.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay, Guy, Zoom platform is not stable sometimes. Hence, are you using Zoom platform or others? What is the platform you're using?
We're using our own purchased professional Zoom platform. It's not a platform that is unstable. It's the connectivity. If you have a challenge with that, right, that will give you challenges, and that's something that is beyond our control. But the platform that we use, we have not received a single complaint about running it in Zoom. Seriously. And it's a valid question, though. When Zoom initially came, they had some glitches, some security issues as well, which they have now recovered. Right? That's why Zoom is still the most popular one. And if you just look at the statistics, if you Google, they had phenomenal growth during the pandemic because the whole world is using them. Yeah, it's not Zoom that is unstable. It's about the internet connectivity that may sometimes become an issue or a challenge. And we use our own purchase Zoom platform.
Great, ladies and gentlemen. If you're excited about the offer, the program, please type in "excited" on your chat box. Just want to see. At least we'll know that there is somebody on the other side listening to this.
Yeah.
Just type in "excited" on your chat box. Okay, great. Shahaz said, okay, he's excited. Okay. How about the others? And okay, Guy said it's an interesting session. Great. Brilliant.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, Gregory said excellent, exciting. Okay. Mina K, okay, saying excited. Okay, Vasant, thanks for the session. Great, thank you very much for those positive feedback. So we will be getting back to you. If you want to register, please go ahead and click onto the link in the chat box and go pay a $100 deposit, because this is a special offer, very special offer for Sri Lanka and for Asia as well. Actually, in fact, this was brought in by Ejaz himself, because he wanted to. Our intention is to make a bigger impact.
Yeah.
It's not about the price; it's the impact. That's what we look for. And yeah, so
yeah, I invite you to join the elite group of supply chain professionals, because by joining CSCM program, you join the entire, like, just a quick, what do you call, exciting news for you. Last November, ISCEA held the conference worldwide, which ran for 4 days, and for CSCMs it was free. And the type of feedback we got in Bangladesh and other parts of the world, it was mind-blowing. They said, we never thought that such a great session will be free just because I'm a CSCM. So as you become, this is the slogan that ISCEA uses, join the elite group of supply chain professionals. As you join, develop that. Thank you. Sure. So I look forward to seeing each of you
for your time
and interact, and also take ourselves, our organizations, and the community to another level.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Ejaz, and thank you very much.
So thank you, Shubha. Is there any more questions that you would like me to address?
So I don't see any questions. So our team will get in touch with you, and we'll see how we can reach out to you and then assist you on registration or any other assistance we can provide from our end. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and we would like to thank eVisible Magazine for their support for organizing this this program, and I would like to thank my good friend Sati for his help of organizing this, and I would like to thank all the audience, all the supply chain specialists and the leaders who are here to participated. We have overshot 15 minutes, but I believe it was worth it. And so if you have any question, you can always reach out to us on our Success Zante Facebook page, and we will share the detail with you after this program. And so we're looking forward to hearing from you, or we will get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can probably send each one of them in electronic communication with the program details for the enrollment if you have their contact details. Yeah, awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Stay well, and let's pray for each other in this pandemic. And I look forward to seeing each one of you at CSCM program.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to mention before I finish, it's like, because of this present situation, if you really look at it, we're able to do it online. So we're going to bring in best of both the worlds, right? In Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, we're combining it together. So it's an international CSCM also. So that's a great opportunity.
If people do join from other parts of the world, like the batch where some of the Sri Lankan participants joined, we had participants from Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, and Sweden, and of course from Bangladesh. Yeah, in the last batch.
Great. So thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ejaz. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
The most profitable companies in the world have learned to use their supply chains to keep goods and services flowing into the marketplace. But supply chain processes are only as good as the people who keep them running. Supply chain employment opportunities are constantly being created, and ISCEA certified professionals are getting the best paid jobs. If you wish to become a sound supply chain professional and gain real-world experience and knowledge, then ISCEA is your one-stop source for supply chain education, certification, and recognition. ISCEA is the International Supply Chain Education Alliance. We were the first organization certifying supply chain professionals around the globe, and we remain the worldwide authoritative resource for supply chain career validation, with thousands of certificate holders commanding top-tier salaries. Our certification programs are aligned with best practices and industry-proven standards. They bring together academic research advances and innovative industry trends, validating that you have the knowledge used by top companies to remain competitive in an ever-changing business environment. For your company, that translates into significant cost reductions, faster revenue growth, and a collaborative teamwork environment. For your career, it means exceeding everyone's expectations and taking control of your future. So, what are you waiting for? Stand out from the crowd and take your career to the next level with an ISCEA internationally recognized supply chain certification.